good morning, beautiful people. Welcome back to the GNC Family Farms. How y'all doing? As we say around here, what happens on the farm stays on the farm. But not today, we're going to let it all out. Well, it's the 29th of January. January went quick, didn't it? Well, I'm sure most of you have already dug out from the snowstorm if it affected your area, or ice. In some cases, it's been ice. Right now we are in Arctic weather. Here in Ohio, we like temperatures around the 20. I mean, sometimes it'll get down to the 20s, 30s. That's cool. We can deal with that. When it starts getting down to the teens and the minuses, that's when it's really bad. But Sunday there was no video, so don't worry about that. I know that you probably was looking for it. But there was no video on Sunday, and the reason is because, well, I was busy digging out. Monday, I went out and started the cars, and I turned around. You've probably seen in the videos where the carport's at, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I started up the wife's car and turned around to go back up to the front porch to get some stuff off there that I had to take out here to the barn. And I happened to look straight ahead, because that's the next thing I always do is look at my girls, talk about the chickens. And the chicken coop, or the chicken run, I should say. Well, the coop did suffer a lot of damage too. Unfortunately, it's hanging in there. Yeah, the chicken run just basically weighed down by snow. Honestly, it's my fault. I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I was tired. I had just got done plowing and just, I just slipped my mind. Now, normally when I go in there, I can feel if there's, it's weighed down, but for some reason, maybe I just wasn't paying attention or whatever. Yeah, the weight of the snow, it just buckled it. So today I'm going to, after I get done with this video, I'm going to get the tractor running and go out there and try to lift it up and flip it over, because all the snow's down in the middle of the thing. I can't do any more damage to it. It's already damaged. My hope and goal is that if I could get it to flip over, get the snow out of it, flip it back over, then, or maybe while it's over, I go and stand on the metal bar and try to bend it down, try to hammer it down, try to get the metal brace somewhat bent down. Is it going to be 100%? No, because the one bar is definitely, it's cranked. I doubt I can even really do any much with it. But what I could do is I got some 2x4s out here, and I could go in there and at least use the 2x4s as braces to hold up the part of the top. So either way, my first goal was to get the thing flip over. That's gonna be the trick. If I can get it, I'm going to use the bucket to basically raise it up and try to flip it over. I don't know if it'll work, but I'm going to try. It's just been so cold, and today also I want to get the blades loose off the mower, get it cleaned off the bottom of it, and get them sharpened up, and before I put them back on, I'm going to spray paint the deck underneath, but I can't do it today because it's just too cold. But the goal is just to get them off and get all the gunk, grass and everything off of the bottom of it, and get it all clean and sand down and ready for spray. And that way, come springtime, I can spray paint it when it's a little bit warmer out, at least when it's warm out. because it is bitter cold. I mean, there is just no doubt about it. It is just straight up miserable cold. Now you say, well, you got a hoodie on. Well, no, I got my big jacket over there. Okay, this is more of my barn jacket. This is what I wear when I'm in here, taking care of the animals, doing what I got to do inside. Plus, I got my heated gloves because one thing that I don't know if this affects anyone else, but at least with my fibromyalgia and arthritis or whatever, the tips of my fingers, literally the tips of my fingers, they go numb first, they get cold, and then it starts burning, and it's miserable. It just, oh, I can't stand it. So yeah, you know, you live and learn, but you know, I don't feel so bad because it looks like a lot of people, I follow a lot of channels, looks like a lot of people have gotten the same fate. Not just chicken coops, but carports. This one guy's had his tractor in there, and he had a golf cart in there, and a side-by-side in there, and the car, he was in his house editing his video to upload, and he heard a crashing noise and went out and looked, and sure enough, the carport just buckled. Which that shouldn't happen. You know, I'm sure it had nothing to do with him. It just was that it, you know, this snow and stuff. It's just been crazy. You know, like I plowed out my neighbors' driveways and sidewalks, and so that way they wouldn't have to do it. Of course, I plowed up the road, part of the road out, because I didn't know when the county was going to get to it. But yeah, like one neighbor up here, he said, I haven't seen this much snow since '78. And that's pretty crazy. What's concerning about this all is, and here's the big thing, okay? The river's frozen over, okay? That's strike one. Strike two, all this snow, okay? You know it's going to melt. I mean, it's not going to, we're not going to stay like this forever. So that means when all this melts, the locks, the dam locks, are going to be backed up because of all the ice. What that does is that elevates the river. And like we were talking down here, my neighbor and I was talking, he said, yeah, you're right, springtime is going to be bad. It's going to be bad. The great thing about this all, now here's the other part that's really great. I guess you could call it great. When we have deep freezes like this, down in the minus, hard winters like this, and that's what we're having right now. We're having a hard winter. That's the way Mother Nature, the way God created the earth to basically go to sleep and have a deep sleep. So cold temperatures like this and deep freezes are good because it helps with the ground. It also helps with pest control, bugs control, you name it. So there's if we didn't live beside the river, I would just say the great thing about all this is, you know, we're going to have a great summer. It's going to be less pests and bugs. But since we live next to the old river out here, you know, that means that we could see some flooding. Of course, yes, we've had flooding here, but nothing up here in the barn. The previous owner has drawn lines on the barn doors of where water has been inside this barn. Or at least I don't know. I know that there is some signs of water being in here. So I don't know if he marked him on this door. The main doors. Of where the water is at inside here, or, you know, I don't know. I'm assuming that's how it went, unless he used, you know, uh, a yardstick and went out and measured the water and then wrote it in there what year where the water level was at. Um, I'm assuming it was in here in the barn. Um, so, we go with the flow. That's something we can do. Mentioning you going with the flow. Um, the wife called me on, oh, it was Sunday. She called me on Sunday. I was out plowing, and she said, "When you come in, can you look around or smell and see if I'm just imagining it?" And I said, "Okay, what are you smelling?" She said, "I smell poo poo." I said, "Okay, you smell poo poo. All right." So I said, "Well, when I come in, I'll check it." Well, before I went in, I said, "Well, if she's smelling poo poo in there, it means that because I asked her, I said, did you?" No, she's like, "It's coming. I think it's coming from the basement." So it triggered my mind. Well, I better go downstairs and just kind of look. None of the pipes, sewer lines, none of that stuff is busted. There was no mess or anything like that. Thank the Lord for that. Um, so yesterday they came out. The plumber did. Had to put in an order because we have a warrant service that we pay monthly for. We pay for interior and exterior. Anything goes around with any part of our plumbing that comes into our house, outside, inside, whatever, gets backed up, whatever, gets replaced. Okay? So, thankfully for that, it's been submitted. We're waiting on, it takes about 48 hours for them to get the answer back. Once they do, they'll give us a holler out and say, "This will come back out and fix it," or "This is what they said." They better not say they're not going to fix it. What basically needs to be done is, I guess, the trap. It's old, so he's just going to replace the whole trap area and part of the uh, piping and stuff like that. So it doesn't. I don't think it's going to be a big job, but it's going to be a smelly job. But but um, so yeah, I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, just lots and lots of little things going on. Like I said, we're trying to manage with the cold, and now my wife doesn't have to worry about it because she works from home, so she doesn't go outside at all. She's become a hermit in the house. Oh, I needed that. Um, but I'm the one that goes outside every day and takes care of the animals and livestock and all that fun jazz. And of course, she said, "Well, I could help you with that chicken coop." And I looked at her and I said, "You don't have the winter gear. You don't have the winter gear to go out there and these kind of days, because these temperatures are dangerous. Okay, people. Any exposed skin for long periods of time, that leads to frostbite. It really can be really dangerous. And right now we're sitting at, I think I looked at the temperature before I started this video. It was 6 degrees. 6 degrees. Today's high is only going to be 10 or 15, or 10 or 12. 12 degrees. That's the high. So, yeah, she can't go outside wearing just wet pants and maybe a pair of pants underneath, or maybe 2 pairs of socks. That's not winter. This is winter gear. I got my bibs on. I've got my long johns on. I've got another pair of pants underneath these. I got 3 pairs of socks. I wear 2 gloves, my knitted, heated gloves. I got the big M65 jacket. You know, I dress for this kind of weather. I got the hood that goes underneath this so I can keep my face and my ears and my neck and all, my face and all that covered. So I have all the gear to do this kind of work, but she doesn't. It's like, oh, now I can go out there and do it. And I'm like, no, you can't do it. You know, I don't want you losing toes. I don't want you losing fingers because you decided to play She-Ra. But I love her. She definitely is. She will. She will do it. She would if I would let her, but I'm not letting her do it. It's too dangerous. Today the wood guy's supposed to come drop off a load of wood. You know, my wife, she said, well, you know, I can't believe we went through that much wood. And I said, well, we haven't used the 2 cords yet. We just went through the first part of what we already had. And yes, you know, when you have temperatures like this and it, you know, it's just trying to keep the house heated. Now, I'll tell you what, if this house had true insulation, I'm talking in the walls, ceiling, I mean from top to bottom, insulated, no gaps, no holes, would be less on our heating bill, our wood bill, or when we run the fuel oil. But when you have old windows, misplaced windows, different shaped windows, and you got gaps in between framing work, and you got holes that's behind a hall tree thing, and you know, yeah, poor insulation. No insulation at all. Well, I take it back. There is some. I can't remember. Just rolls of insulation up there in the attic, but it's nothing like it should be. Because when you go up there, you can actually look outside. Not like major holes, but I mean you can see outside. We're not talking like a vent. We're talking just because there's gaps and. You know, when you buy a house, you don't think about all them things. Now we knew this house wasn't, you know, it wasn't the, you know, a mansion up on the hill. You know, we knew that. We knew going in this was a hodgepodge deal. You know, but just didn't think it would be this bad, or how much energy you spend. You know, like electrical, and you know, because. You use a lot of electric because you're running your furnace, and of course the furnace is outdated. It's a fuel oil furnace, so it's not the most, it's definitely not energy efficient. You got to run several heating devices on top of that, and you're burning wood on top of that. It just shows you how we're trying to keep everything warm. Just like out here, there's no insulation at all, which is fine. It's a barn. It's not. We're not going to have insulation in here, but would it be nice? Heck yeah, I'd love to have all the walls be spray foam insulated. But that's just unrealistic. First of all, the only thing that I would like to see done would be to have all the gaps filled in with insulation, spray foamed in, especially in the attic itself, have it more sealed in and stuff like that. But as far down here, there's not much you can do about it. You know, it's just the thing that I would love to have, which I'm going to be getting, is probably 2. I eventually would like to have 2, but at least 1 to start off with. And that's a torpedo heater, because I just think that would help with heating in here. It would keep it at least somewhat warm. Yeah, so that's pretty much what's been going on around here on the farm. Like I said, we let it all hang out. There's no sugarcoating. You know, we're not hiding anything. We tell the truth, and we try to tell you what we're experiencing, and I'm sure some of you out there are experiencing the same thing as we are. You know, every time you open up your electric bill, you're like, you know, you want to sprinkle holy water on it because it's like the demons in there. You know what I'm talking about for some of you. You know, we put our shoes, boots on the same way you do. So we're just blue collar family, trying to make it by and surviving. Let's see what else. I I'm not going to talk about the stuff in Minnesota. I was going to, but I I just don't have anything good about it. I have my theories of what needs to be done, but um, I think some of these people, I just will say this. I think some people just need a good old swaddle on the butt. I really do. Um, I just, I just don't get it. I really don't. And we really are so messed up, and the the elevator is definitely stopped between the floors on some of these people because this don't make no sense to me. But hey, like I said, I'm gonna once I get up here, I'm gonna bring old Miko in. He's been out there for a little bit. I wanted to get the stink blowed off of him. He's used to these kind of temperatures. Unlike Gypsy. Now, Gypsy, I'm trying to think. She's standing here. So it'd be her right back hip. Ever since she was a pup, the cold weather and she's walking, that leg just locks up and she kind of holds it back like this. And that's why I'm always like, you can't go outside. I know you want to go outside and run and smell and chase kitties and play around. But not today. It's just too cold. I let her out. I get her right back in the house because before I'd let her go, and I had to go find her, and she's out there laying down on the ground, and I had to pick her up and bring her in because she'd been too long out on top of the snow. Yep. Man, I can't think of anything else. If you guys talk about how you're struggling through this, if you're struggling with cold weather, just heard that there's another storm on the horizon. Sometime next weekend is supposed to arrive. I'm like, I don't mind snow. I really don't. I take the seasons because God gives us these seasons. We have our seasons in life. We have seasons in nature. And right now we're in hibernation state, literally, because no one wants to go outside because it's too cold, unless you're built for it, which I am. But I don't particularly like getting, excuse me, taking 10 to 15 minutes just getting dressed up to go outside. That's just a hassle to me. It's like, all right, I gotta go outside. Now, if I gotta run out here real quick, like to get something out of the car, or come out here to the barn and get a gallon of tea out, or get something out of the little freezers, or out here, I have my boots. They're like fur-lined. You can wear them around town. Slipper, looks like moon boots. You remember moon boots back from the 80s? That's what they sort of are. I just throw them on my feet, throw on a shirt, and a jacket. Woo. Throw on a jacket and go. Run out here real quick and back in. Now, if I'm going to spend, like today, I'm spending a lot of time outside. Yeah, I got to dress up. Got to get all the gear on. Going outside. All right, folks. Well, I thank you all for following. You're all beautiful people. We love you, and we just thank you for supporting our channel. And as we say around here on the farm, peace, love, and joy comes from knowing our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And you all have a blessed rest of the week. It's almost over. Friday tomorrow. Yeah! Friday. We can't wait till Friday. To me, it's just another day because when you work on a farm, you don't get days off. Sundays is our rest day, and it means that we don't do any major stuff while here on the farm. But we do have to still come out and feed the animals and livestock and take care of them and make sure they have all their stuff. And like the rabbits, they got to get their waters defrosted because they freeze. Yeah, I wish they'd come up with a way to heat up rabbit bottles. Maybe that could be an invention I could come with to it. I'd be a millionaire. All right, folks, get on out of here. I love y'all, and we will see you on the next video. See ya. Have a great week.